8 players. So we got Edberg, Sombrero, Tweede, Suntouch, Ponyhoff, Glocked, Cyanide, and Queenie on the team together here as they were moving in to the crates.
Another interesting thing to consider is that with this size of people, like when you decide to land, right, you're looting more people than ever too. And so maintaining that you get an area with high enough loot and to be able to suffice for the 8 members of the team is actually really important.
It kind of also goes towards kind of the opposite strategy that you go for in more competitive squads, where you kind of drop to these areas right outside of named locations.
Yeah.
Where in this instance, you kind of want to drop to those named locations because generally they're going to have higher loot. I don't believe that we have any sort of like increased loot or increased multipliers on that sense. So because of that, you do need to get yourself in an area where there's going to be more.
Oh no, they actually do. So I'm double checking the settings here, and it does look like actually most of everything has been kind of tripled up.
Okay.
From normal.
JK.
So they thought of that. They thought of how difficult it would be to loot 8 people in the same drop zones. What's interesting to me is, do any 2 groups of 8 drop into the same area? Like, is there another group in Georgia?
Well, that was going to be a question that I asked too. Is there any merit to kind of splitting it up into 2 groups of 4 and kind of tackling it, staying somewhat around each other, but kind of fanning out and covering more ground as 2 groups of 4 as opposed to one giant group of 8?
I think so. I think it would be better to work in micro groups and have a little bit of control between each 4-man squad and kind of doing their own thing, but maintaining that, you know, there is some overarching unified voice for the entirety of the group, right? But it does seem like, for instance, that zone control theory that I kind of posed before and being able to maintain that, if you all are too densely packed over one another, you aren't going to actually be able to push back all the other teams at the exact same pace and, you know, really cover all the ground that is necessary.
There are 2 teams.
Yeah, there are 2 teams here in Georgia Pole.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're counting Georgia Pole the entirety, this is just 2 teams in North Georgia Pole. We had the other team in Georgia Pole crates as well. So we'll see how this goes.
Those apartments, though, do have a lot of loot opportunities and spawn points within it, so confident with the 3-time scaling that everybody in that is going to probably walk away with pretty good gear set.
I've like never been able to tell if Georgia Pole would be a premier location to live because it's on the water, or if it's actually like a bad place to live because there aren't very many stores. Like, it's kind of like, it's literally just apartment complexes with a couple of factories and
there's
supply crates.
One restaurant.
There's one restaurant.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, you'd have to like drive into Pachinki to eat.
Yeah.
You know, but
if you, all right, Dreadnought. Here's your question of
my
the day.
moment to shine.
Your moment to shine. If you had to open like a mom and pop restaurant and you're the only restaurant in the store or in the town,
yeah,
what would you call your restaurant?
The Spot.
The Spot?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
The Spot.
I would go with The Spot because that's what it is. You know?
It's just The Spot.
Yeah, everybody would be like, yeah, we're just going down to the
That's
Spot.
what they're going to call it anyways. You want to meet at the Spot? Yeah, let's meet at the Spot.
But like, is it The Spot because it's The Spot, or is it The Spot because it's the only spot?
I'm gonna brand it as case 1, but it sadly is the latter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I open a rival restaurant called The Other Spot?
The Other Spot? I was having that conversation about like restaurant names with somebody the other day, where you have those places where it's like, it's boba time. It's the ones where you like, hey, guess what? What? It's boba time. like they create these like great little names and stuff like that.
Good job.
When the bike just keeps going.
It's like the Shroud clip we had at the very beginning of the show, where he just like looks at the bike that's just on fire as it goes past him.
It's a great clip that the chat hasn't actually seen yet, but if you go and you watch the top clips of the week on just the PUBG category, you can see it. It's a pretty great moment. We might show it to him later.
I feel like that's a pretty big setback to lose somebody, though, in such an, you know, for lack of a better way to describe it, irrelevant moment when it comes to like the looting and things that like to be on a motorcycle isolated in an 8-man group. Like, that is removing some of that, as I put before, fodder that they need before.
But it's funny though, because they just wiped Conti off the map here, but they're now doing exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, it is.
It's like peace, team.
It is a little weird.
And again, it's on a 3-seater. It's
oh, no!
the most terrifying. It's the most terrifying vehicle in the entire game. I think it's one of the most like terrifying vehicles in any game that like has been created. The pure functionality of safety is just non-existent with that. The how easy it is to just get flipped over on that 3-seater is terrifying.
But I like what they're doing here, using one vehicle to go find more vehicles, then go back pick up more teammates. So they're starting to strengthening the mobility of their squad.
It's going to be a caravan pretty quick.
I was about to say, they could have an entire caravan on this one.
This would be amazing.
How terrifying would that be if like you and your team is just hanging out in one of the buildings and all of a sudden you just see three UAVs and a motorcycle just come out of nowhere and it's like, oh, the boys.
Whereas if I'm holed up in like middle of Pachinki, right? Those buildings are indestructible. So I would actually rather be the team in the building shooting out at the guys who are driving around me, you know, than to be the guys who are driving around me.
That would be just a terrifying scene. It's like, guys, the caravan is here, and then you just see just like vehicle explosion after vehicle explosion. Oh, look at this little camera setup.
Oh, no.
I like this.
Okay, one is on the.
He's green screened, yet still has this kind of digital reader.
Well, it allows him to put his green screened body wherever he wants on the camera instead of having to like put it on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be kind of weird because his like torso just cuts off.
Ez egy atomszopó.
It's a nice synergy as well between the overlay and the notifications.
Igen, nagyon szét vagyunk szóródva, az így kurvára meg fogunk halni. De fodához kellene oda menni, csak nehéz
Okay,
lesz
move
így.
up to 7 and 6, please.
Guys near me.
You can hear him like muting and unmuting like his mic so that way he can
push
kind
to
of
talk.
change. Yeah, so he can change languages. That's awesome.
That was just so funny to hear him kind of go on what seems like more of a Twitch chat rant for a moment there,
Yeah.
like the frustrations to guys are on me to everybody else.
I think that's like a great thing about playing with friends is the persona / like character that you speak when it comes to speaking to your chat versus your teammates are two, in many cases, like two very different things.
Bu oyun çok önemli ya, pozisyon.
Ya bir de fightlar böyle çatır çutur olacak.
Good news, he's got a pan.
Sonlarda doğru yapalım fight'ı. Çelik yelek falan kirlenmesin.
His team all spread out across Razak right now.
Oyun sonuna kalmak istiyorsak.
Ruins'e de
Büyük
atabilir.
ihtimal aşağı kapatacak. Biz görevleri boş zaten. Şu dağın tepesini falan alabiliriz
Yukarı
arkamız safe
kapatırsa çok
olursa.
avantajlı olacağız ya.
You can hear some of the chaos with comms of that density.
Kimse gelemez oraya.
But see, that's the thing. Like you have, and it happens anytime you play with bigger teams. You always have one or two people that are the most active, that are pretty much keeping the comms flooded at all times. And if you want to get a word in, it does make it a little difficult sometimes.
Doldurun harfleri çünkü bitecek. Fazla boost olan var mı abi?
It's even more complex in a game with as little, like, you know, direct pinging capabilities. It does have directional pinging capabilities, but no, not that easy of like, hey, this is exactly where I believe these people are without taking the time to set that out. And it makes that, linguistically, you have to be a little bit more dense with your words to narrate where they are.
Oh, look at this, though.
The high ground advantage here heavily for green team. Peeping over the corner. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I'm already seeing some throwables try to come out, popped up. Looks like a couple. Some touches going to be able to pick up one. He's going to get down by Tixrock, though. Couple shots are going to come down. It isn't a full kill just yet. They are down. You can see them kind of moving. Oh, but it looks like somebody's going to come around. Tixrock gets the full kill on a Glocked.
If Ponyhoff is able to take the 1 versus 2 up on the top half of the hill, he's going to have a high ground advantage over the rest of them there. But otherwise, it's going to be a grim outcome, it feels like, there for that green squad.
Вижу, там трое.
Oh,
nice
great
couple of
shots coming out there.
Nice.
That Mini 14 putting in absolute work early. She swaps over like she wants to throw a frag grenade, but she actually is just trying to get a little bit more of a high ground if she can get a couple extra shots. Oh, a head pops up. She's not able to get the dink, but she's going to try to see if she can cook a grenade. It's going to throw. It won't explode on impact. It will bounce, I think, pretty much just once. So instead, she's going to try to decide to throw some smokes across. Does get one down with the teammate.
Смоке.
She is just chucking utility as the rest of her team flanks on the right side of the screen that you can see.
Вот который левый.
Слева здесь. Yep. Далеко только не крутите вообще.
100 убегает.
This is kind of that aggressive flanking strategy that you're talking about a little bit earlier, Dreadnought, in the sense of you have a couple people that are going to hold position for more kind of Overwatch oversight, whereas then you have a couple other players that are going to be flanking from the other sides to try to see if they can get a jump on them. A pretty solid strategy as far as just squadron movement.
It makes the swarming capabilities and forcing your hand get a lot better whenever you have this dense an amount of people. But it also makes confirming kills that much more important rather than just getting the knock, because if the team can defend and smoke out, they may have an opportunity to get a res afterwards, which coming to light here for a moment. Couple trades back here behind the trees. The smoke goes down. Frag grenade in response.
Ooh, we got
Nice
him.
toss.
He does knock one, but there are still multiple players. I'm not too sure how many of that squad that they're fighting against have gone at it. It does look like 3 are still alive. One of them seems to be downed. Drainy's actually ended up getting the full kill onto Tweede, which was the one that was down. You can see shots are popping off on the others, but it's not going to be anything just yet. Back on over to our current kill leader.
Набрать надо гранату, вся хуйня. Может еще сейчас эти зарашат сзади, чё? Я думаю, это одни и те же.
Only lost 2 here, so 6 in total for the brown team.
Yep.
It seems like it would be pretty good pacing.
It does look like there is another scuffle with 2 more squads, though. As you can see in the kill feed, a couple others are popping off, so could be some fighting going on the other side of the map.
Они
Да тут
работают?
дохуя всего было.
This is a great spot for them, though. They do find themselves, at least in this circle. Oh, a flare gun comes out. That's going to be an upgraded supply crate that's going to come down for them.
Есть пятерка какой-нибудь лишний? Там
Там очень много было, пятерок у чела.
Есть.
This is the moment where I'm hoping that it's an armored vehicle.
Да, держи.
You can see the ammunition spread and resource management there from the unit.
There's one player that's inside the building, and he's got 3 coming up on him. Oh, this could be
It's
either
your
really
birthday.
good, really good, or really terrifying.
Oh,
This is an action movie right now. The cavalry is coming, and you're having to hold down the fort while multiple players are just throwing utility in and just oppressing you. Hide in the bathroom. Oh.
Not long for this world. Good job there for a moment and trying to find like a way to be able to get away from the frags and be able to heal up in the downtime. But
Poor
that
Daz.
swarming pressure we were kind of talking about before still coming to light.
so now the fire being traded between 3 different groups: the blue, orange, and purple teams.
Still lots of time, though. They do find themselves in a pretty solid spot inside this circle, as Phase 3 has begun, just under 2 minutes now, as it will find itself in a reduction of surface area for these players to chill out at.
Here's Animalie.
I
Love it.
Two guys actually, one further away.
Oh,
Peek your head. Tries to get a pre-fire over the hill. Isn't able to get himself a shot.
Oh shit.
Okay, guys, how many kills did we got on those guys?
3 or 4.
Does look like teammate knocked somebody, though, on the other side of the kill feed.
What about the others? Do you have any kills, guys?
No, I have
Okay. 75.
kind of like coordinating a reposition, a rotation.
Yeah.
8 people. There's got to be like right now, especially when you're watching these teams trading shots back and forth, right? Everyone's just taking pot shots in different directions.
Yeah.
To like encourage everyone, stop shooting, group up, but keep far enough away, serpentine away.
Well, and this is kind of that moment that you have to make that decision of when do you find yourself in a spot where rotating hard early actually benefits you. And I think in something like an 8-squad format does actually help you out in those instances, because you've got more players to essentially help out your entire FOV and keep your entire 360 kind of, what's the word we're looking for, at like a full alert.
Yeah.
As far as like an observational standpoint, 8 players allows you to do that much easier. So it makes better sense to rotate earlier to the center of the circle and hold yourself up, because you will have more vision just because you're going to have more sets of eyes.
I love Slugro's cosplay here.
I mean, yeah, the IRL ghillie suit there that he's got going on.
I think the face paint's what gets it for me.
The
With glasses.
Snoopy nose of the paint like kind of kills me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he's wearing. Is that actually his nose, or is that a nose that's attached to the
No,
glasses?
I think it is just painted the tip of his nose as hard as he possibly could. But I get it. It's still the military bases there. It's just for me, I immediately see that in some of the, scraggly grass on top of his head, and I go, oh, it's a cute puppy.
It does look like a puppy. But the glasses are hilarious to me.
Very Wilfred-esque.
I honestly cannot tell if that is a nose that is attached to the glasses, like a fake face, but like, wouldn't there also be a mustache underneath it if they were fake?
Nope. Okay.
I don't know. I think that's a fake nose.
One thing we got to consider now that we have identification of the next circle is who finds themselves within it and has the positional advantage and who are forced to kind of maneuver around. It does look like this unit here with 4 remaining have the opportunity to at least exist a little bit longer here. But others, as you can see them peeking here towards the northeast, may not share the same fate.
They do have 3 members down as well on their team, so.
Yeah, they've kind of gotten picked off.
Luckily, they're in the circle for phase 4, so they don't have to move outside of this little compound that they're defending right now. But as they can hear from shots around, there are multiple other squads around them, so they've got to be careful. This increased loot also makes it a little easier for these teams to kind of throw out some warning shots, little pop shots as you were calling them, Wave Punk. More players going down on the other side of the map, slowly reducing our pool down.
Those guys are very aggressive. They're probably really good players.
We started out with 64, now we're down to 41. A couple players down that could get reduced down to under 40 in the next few seconds.
Where even?
There's a lot of scouting being done.
It's under the ruins.
I would like to see some attempt, if these teams are going to maneuver and they have a guesstimate of like where they think the next gun ring is going to be, or focus and concentrating closer to the center. The center only has open terrain though, as you can see, which makes that extremely difficult to do. But if you're going to make a rotation, again, we've highlighted the sooner the better with this large of individuals and like this sizing of a group.
Yeah, I'd love to see if we could, on this, because we're actually taking a look at the spectator client right now, if we could actually take a look at the map and see how far away these players actually are from each other. Because on this next rotation, that's where things are going to get really sticky. We've got one squad of what it looks to be 5 kind of chilling out on the top. That's Drainies and Smorodinova. That's on their side. That looks like they have kind of the better position on this northern side of the map.
The team taking up Ruins, then this team here just south of them.
The team at Ruins has to make a move. This team that we're taking a glance at right now has a massive advantage there as they see a couple now kind of peeking over that hill.
Ooh, barely misses that shot. But this is kind of what we were talking about. When do you make the realization of hard rotating is the apparent answer. There's 5 players left on this current team.
Yeah.
Which does create a good opportunity.
You know, and not being in the experience or having like large sample sizes or anything, if I was to give a guesstimation, I would say it's probably about 2 minutes earlier and sooner than you normally would as a average player, right? Because it's going to take that much time to get the team across, even more so if you find any opponents within that time frame in between. And much like it is harder to move those people, it's also harder to get around those people if you realize that situations are more difficult than you originally assumed.
Well, and it kind of I hate to say it, but it plays into your point earlier, where sometimes maybe in a situation like this, having 8 players on a rotation like that might not be the best option.
Yeah.
They find themselves down to 5 players right here. That 5-6 range might actually be better because it's easier to coordinate the smaller players. You don't find yourselves clumped up, especially as the circle starts to get a lot smaller. You can get yourself to cover those tighter areas with less people, and you don't see people kind of standing on top of each other.
Я буду, короче, спину смотреть, 355, кто там? А, ты там смотришь.
Я смотрю, я здесь стою.
Окей.
Там Бухаградович, они зарубятся все очень жестко.
Вот я про то же, а мы...
Okay.
Rip.
What happened? Oh, there it is.
In chat there.
We're back.
Here's the Ruin squad.
I like to call it a dramatic pause.
It was dramatic.
They only have to move in a little bit, but they're sitting at a low ground compared to everybody else for a bit here. until they make it completely over this ridge, and then we know that other unit is sitting over to what looks to be their south-southwest kind of side.
This is rough though, because that northern side of ruins actually isn't in, which means to the southern side it's a large amount of hills. So this is the map that I was wanting to look at a little bit earlier. And you of course still have 6 teams that are left alive. You've got that one that we were talking about with Drainies and them that find themselves in this middle area, this middle compound just south of ruins, and that's great. But on this northern side, there's so much verticality for them to be able to see. And as you can, you notice, it's actually helping it out. Photob's actually able to get 2 knocks off of that.
The poor one guy in the middle.
Yeah, the Lone Ranger standing number 7 in there.
Zorador. No.
That is when you become a snake.
You got him, right?
Yeah.
That is when you become a snake in the grass.
Oh!
You see he's running.
Really good shots by Photo there.
Dzięki.
He's left from the drop thingy. From the red crate.
Those 3 teams fighting one another, it's very important that they don't find themselves in a situation to where they choose to take that fight as fast as they can, because the numbers advantage that they had compared to green and orange, who are more distant towards that southern aspect, were lower in numbers. So
this is such a good rotation.
They cannot dilute their kind of quality of team that they have in terms of numbers.
Back in the smoke.
Here.
1 hit. 100 on the hill. Push the yellow houses.
Oh, well, he's actually opting to go for...
Retreat back to the team?
Yeah.
First in the zone, maybe.
I think if they're going to make a gesture, it needs to be far off to the right-hand side
They're in the buildings
of the ring option that they have right now. They can't really move through those apartment complex and compound over there.
Maybe.
As they know that there's a majority of people in there. Yes, they did end up getting one of the knocks there. See the crate out in the distance.
No. We can easily push.
Smokes are out. The answer's push.
A lot of smoke.
Clear them out. Go get them.
Yeah, you hear the sound push together. This isn't a situation where you go in single file. You're not trying to go in one by one. You have to try to see if you can get a full fan and actually go. So they are going to smoke into it, just as you were talking about, Dreadnought. Trying to see if he can get it. Double zooms in to try to get a shot. Ooh, nice little double dink there. It's going to get the double headshot with the SKS. That's going to be able to get 1 knock for him. Is he able to get the others? Isn't able to get it just yet. You can see the explosions happening across the mark, but that 1 knock will aid their rotation a little bit easier.
The glance he is taking is at one of those 2 southern teams we saw before.
You were in the zone? Like everybody's
That is a little bit lower, I believe, of the green and the orange team.
Yeah, we got to clear out the buildings. Make sure it's clear.
Smart calls there to make sure every corner, nook and cranny is cleaned up. I think it's important for this team. To be honest, I did not think they would get out of ruins safely. They've already done more than I thought they'd be able to, and considering the position that they've been in. But I'd like them to see a bit more hasteful here on that next transition.
Well, and a huge aspect of it as well is because you had someone like Photo that we have on the screen was actually able to push up into that and get those double knocks. So because of that, it stalled them out just long enough for his team to be able to kind of catch up and rotate themselves around, which shows how great it is to actually have these bigger squads, because you can send someone off on a solo mission, and if they don't come back, it's not the end of the world.
Just good night. That's all you can say there here. As we see them now, they are into the compound, the maroon in the bottom right here, trying to figure out how they can make it up the hill, but the orange team kind of thwarting that back here for a bit longer.
6x isteyen var mı?
Still 19 players left alive in the lobby, so going to be cutting it pretty close here.
Just a reminder, if you're just now joining us and you're like, who are all these people? That one stream looked pretty cool. I'd love to watch that guy some more. Well, they're all live on Twitch right now. You can find a list of all of our competitors through the Twitch Rivals extension. Go and click on that. It'll show you a way to follow, to subscribe, to just go say hi in all of their chats. Find the one that you like, make it your friend, and oh no. 10,000 days, stay alive!
He is behind the hill enough to maybe be able to get a res, and it's unlikely that the other team would actually get a push within that time frame here. But after this, after the heals come out, after the sims get dropped, it's important that they make this rotation. They know they're out of the circle. And that blue chunks at this point of the game.
He will be able to pop a first aid, though, get himself up to 75% HP. We'll pop some stims, of course, as cross. 4 teams left alive. as you can see them kind of separating it out in the 4 diagonals of the map right now. 3 players left alive here on Ponyhoff's team.
In a car. There's a guy in a car. My ping.
Yeah. Crazy guys.
Mad lad. I see another one here by a bike. You ping.
Yellows have to be out.
Yeah, minis are taking shots. Those are yellows.
Yeah.
Just be careful, yellow's coming
I'm
up
gonna
this
boost
way.
up.
Street level. Street level
Get
looks
you something
good.
boosted.
I'll let you know exactly.
See, this is the communication that you do like to see. It's everyone kind of says their call-outs and then immediately stops talking, which is, this is kind of shows the experience that Cyanide and them kind of have in a lot of these instances. Is you're making your call-outs, you're making your quick observations, and then you're immediately hushing up, because that could, you know, create less of an opportunity for overcoming each other in those comms.
Yeah, I think people, until they record themselves and listen to what they say and like really scratch out how many words didn't need to exist, never really realize how much they say that just makes almost little to no impact on an actual game. And becoming more apparent here. So we find Cyanide a way to get a double knock here in the push attempt out from the team on that low ground.
Are you in?
Oh.
Let's try.
Foda able to hit another shot with the AW, and he's been on fire thus far.
That's their team eliminated. Down to 3.
Bir yaralı var net.
Still 7 players left alive on this squad.
So it'll be 7-2. Oh, I guess the other 2 could be
Do a
in.
triple smoke cover too to help with the transition.
Knock, 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 go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
Take advantage of the
So
one.
that's a know-how.
Oh.
Got to go up the hill. Vertical advantage is not in your favor. 1 knock was able to happen, which means things are going to have to happen immediately if you want to be able to push up. 1 kill is going to happen. Only about 10 HP left remaining. He's going to go into the smoke, pop down, become a snake, and use a quick first aid, try to get himself back in the game.
10,000 days though, taking a lot of shots there, as you can see on the UI in your lower left. Falling pretty low, got the first aid off now. So they got to find a way to that high ground ideally here. You see the purple team having
it's
a
2
massive
teams.
advantage there. Numbers advantage, I believe, even existing in favor of the purple team here.
Also the high ground. You should just shoot down.
Boost'un var mı? Boost'un var mı Patcutez?
So it's a 6v6 situation right now.
Atsana boost.
Interesting choice of resolution for a streamer here.
Yararım oradan.
Kanka en sağ alttan gitsene.
Simulating the old CRT experience.
It's actually hilarious.
He also look how close he is to his monitor. This is definitely a guy that's been playing video games for a very long time and knows how he likes to game.
Yeah.
Look at that knock too, and just the nade. Gonna go for another one. Can he find 2?
Yeah, this is the stage in the game, especially when you find yourself in these hilly areas where utility is huge if you want to find yourself to have any advantage. And luckily for them, they're going to try to see if they can get a little bit of a spread out. There was a rock to be helped out here, but instead they're going to just be trying to use a little bit of these trees. The flanks are going to be all the reality, but with many members on each of these teams, could be difficult.
Looks like they're going for what appears to be a final push here, knowing that there's a very weak stuck behind those rocks. Finds 1 more knock, ends up going down in the back end. Right here we do see, what is it, 5 against 4 when it comes to the teams in this final skirmish.
Some really good sprays coming out here. They're able to get it in just like that, as quickly as it began. Another winner chicken dinner, and 10,000 days showing them point and click skills.
10,000 days, been on the winning side. Well, 2 of our 3 games, been in the top 10, I think all of them. So definitely some fantastic play there.